Hello and welcome to the channel. I am Chris Master 2K and today we're going to be doing campaign 4, the Sunset Route. Now I've played this level a little bit before and as you'll be able to see I've got good score on this. I'm 108th with a score of 750. That was with pauses. What I'm going to show you today, and hopefully we're going to beat that score, is how to get a really good score on this but only use one pause. And by this I mean at the beginning of the play, once the level loads, I'm going to press spacebar and pause it. We're going to lay the track, we're going to set the trains running, and I am not going to press spacebar again until we get right to the end of the playthrough. So I will press escape a few times along the way, no doubt, so I can have a comfort break. But I'm not going to press space again. So we have to play this one as the lady. We get factory and rural business upgrades a little bit cheaper. We get new buildings within the city 50% cheaper. But obviously there's the trade-off. Our personnel cost us more. So let's get this up and loading. What's going to happen is we're going to be presented with a cutscene. I'm going to skip that with escape and I'm going to press space straight away. So this is our pause. Right, yeah, it's worked okay.
I don't tolerate sloppiness like that in my company. Now you work for Collis Potter Huntington, and I didn't help create the first 2 transcontinental railroad routes by ever allowing mediocrity. We will make history. After all, I didn't buy up the Texas and New Orleans Railroad for the hell of it. When we're done here, a single railroad will stretch from the Atlantic to the Pacific, the first of its kind. I shall call it the Sunset Route. Your job will be to take care of the last stretch of the route, the heart of it, so to speak, from Austin to the mouth of the Mississippi. I have a huge project to oversee, so I'll give you plenty of elbow room. The Texas and New Orleans is a shadow of what it once was. The old glory has sunk into the swamp, and only East Texas has a small remnant left. This is where you start. Create a foundation for us to build on.
So I didn't want to talk while he was talking because that would probably be quite annoying on the audio. So I have bumped up the staff so they can work effectively, efficiently. I've had a look at the tech tree. If we just come back to it, the basic plan is we're going to go right down the middle. So we're going to pick up the Glen later on. We've got the things we really want to focus on already, so we'll just buy the concession for that area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create almost a daisy chain of stations where the factories spawn at the beginning is slightly random, so I'm trying to work out where I can put this near Beaumont. Yeah, I'll put it on that side. We're going to have the same orientation on Houston, and this is going to be the same orientation on Austin, on San Antonio, on Corpus Christi, and on Brownsville. We'll put some track in. I'm going to try and do this as cheaply as possible, so I'm going to just manipulate the tracks as I go. That's going to be the rough outline of what we're going to do. Okay, so we'll double track, gridiron, and then set directions. So they're nice and set. Now for Austin, there's a bit of a quirk because we have 2 stations there already. The one in sort of a whitish grey we can't get rid of. We can play with it if we want to, but I'm not going to do that on this playthrough. So ideally I'd like to put my new station here, but I can't do that just yet. There's a little workaround you can do though. So if we bring something out of track 2 and we take that into track 1 on Austin on the original station, and we'll just try and make this as cheap as possible. Okay, we'll build that, and now that station is connected, it will allow me to put a new station here. So we want to have it probably about there, and we're going to connect in from track 2 onto the line we built before. We're going to build it. We're not going to knock down that bit, and now we're going to connect and double track all the way to Houston. So the plan for this level, or the tasks, we've got to get the 5 rural businesses connected. What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect up the stations to the cities, and then we're going to add the rural businesses. Now right in the middle we've got the corn and we've got the cows. So I'm going to go on to Corpus Christi. This is often one of the more tricky stations to place. What's it going to let me do? Again, it wasn't the most ideal randomizer we got to start with, but it's going to have to be on the east side of the city. A little bit of adjusting. Come on, come on. I think I might have to compromise. Yeah, we'll pop it there. And we're going to see if I can connect that into Brownsville. I will eventually connect this up to the raw materials in the middle. Actually, I'll connect that up to the raw materials now. And we'll see if it'll let me connect into Brownsville. Gridiron, gridiron, directions. Yep. Will it let me connect into Brownsville? No, it won't let me place the station. Okay, not a problem. Right, we're going to connect up Austin to this central station. This central station is going to become a central depot. So to start with, it's going to have corn and it's going to have obviously the cows, but at some point in the future we're going to build a warehouse here and we're going to bring through a lot of raw materials that are scattered around the map. So now I'm connected in there. It should let me do Brownsville. We'll double track this. Gridiron, gridiron directions. Now to connect San Antonio to Corpus Christi, we're going to take a line just out to the side here, just measure it, just so I've got space for my gridiron later on. Okay, take a line from here. Going to miss out this hill. We're going to come across. Okay, so I've got all my cities connected up now. Right, next thing to do is to connect in the raw materials. So we're going to take wood, and we'll connect that into the main line. We'll need a double platform on this station later, but for now we're just going to save a few pennies, or dollars, or cents. So that's connected in nicely. We're going to connect the grain onto this line here. Directions, and then we'll connect it over here. So I've just got one more to connect in, one more rural business, and then we're done. So for the sugar, we're going to have it like this.
I am relieved to see that you can probably at least tell a wheel from a chimney.
And we'll do the same over here. Now it's a slightly more expensive way of doing it than what I've done with the grain on the opposite side. Obviously there's more distance, more track on this side, but it's going to be very helpful later on, especially if you're not pausing the game. And we're going to connect this one in as well, and we're going to bring you round the back into here. And we'll just give you access to both platforms. There we go. So my tracks are all set, and what I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to put express trains on all of these lines. So Beaumont, Houston, down San Antonio. San Antonio is going to have to loop back to get to Corpus Christi, and Corpus Christi to Brownsville should be straightforward. So we're going to go for an express. Now to start with, I'm going to use the Brooks Mogul for my express lines. It's a little bit cheaper than the alternative. We'll put one on there as well. Okay, so they're all configured. Now at this point I'm going to have to take a bond out, and let's see what I've got available. So my company is worth 3146, so I could take out one of these, and then I've got a choice as to which one I'm going to take. I think I'm just going to take all the money here because we can do things with it. Okay, so now I need to get the freight running. So we're going to start with, what should we start with? Let's start with the corn. So we want the corn to go north. And we're going to set this as a manual train. And I'm just going to call this corn north. We're going to take this out, and we're going to take away 2, and then when we get here we're going to unload, and let me see, you can put anything you want to in that. Beaumont coming back, you can put anything you want. Houston, You can bring back beer. And then Austin, you can just be empty. And for that, we're going to use the Mastodon. Okay, so now I've got corn going to all of these. Next, I'm going to do wood. And wood, we're going to have to split our line in two. So wood's going to go this way. Again, we're going to do it as a manual train. You can put 4 in there. And you can take whatever you want. And then when you get here, you can load and unload. So we'll bring wood over now to Houston and Beaumont. And we'll do this as a manual train again. Start with 4. Leave with 4. Anything you want. Bring back anything you want. And we'll empty that. We're going to call this, let's call this Wood North. We'll call this Wood Central. Now, depending on how much money I have left over at the end, I may well do a Wood South to serve these two cities. Okay, next we're going to do grain. In fact, no, next we'll do sugar. So sugar, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back. So sugar is extremely limited at the start of this level. Well, that means we just have to be sensible about how we use it. Now, fortunately, the cities do not consume sugar at any great rate. Once I've finished doing this line, I'll show you what I mean. So let's call that Sugar Central. So if you go to Houston, you can see that Houston's only using 0.2 per week. And if I show you on the map for all the cities, so 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, so we're only consuming 1.2 a week. Well, that means that if a city gets 2 loads of sugar delivered, we've got 10 weeks supply going in there. Now what I'm going to do in order to supply Beaumont with sugar is I'm going to set up a railway line like so. And to start with, I just want a maximum of 2 sugar going in there. We're going to call you Beaumont Raw. Okay, so as soon as the sugar starts coming down here on the other platform, we'll send some sugar up to Beaumont, because remember, we're trying to grow these 3 cities. Next to do is the grain, and we're going to create a grain train in this direction. We're going to call that Grain North. And again, it's going to be manual. We're going to start with 8. We're going to empty everything out. and that's done now. So these 3 cities have sugar, grain, wood and corn all going to them. These 2 are going to cross supply each other with meat and beer. So I'm going to need a train from here to here, just as an automatic train. And that's in order to take meat up to Beaumont. So very quickly, each of these is going to have 6 resources. And if I just show you on the city menu, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're not going to get access to cloth for a long time, so that's the best we can do for now. Right, other things. We're going to have a station from here to here, and we'll just come back that way. And this is only going to carry cows. And the point of that is so that we can get our connection bonus here. Now I'm wondering if I've got enough money to pop some grain on here. I think I do. I can put a grain station in here. Pop it just down here actually. Okay, and we're going to have a freight train. Cow to Brownsville, to the grain, take it to Brownsville, go back to the grain, take the grain up to Corpus Christi, and then come back to Brownsville. So Brownsville wants to be empty there, and it also wants to be empty here. And again, we'll make that a freight. That'll put a Mastodon on it. And we'll run a grain up to San Antonio. We'll come back and we'll take beer up to San Antonio. And we're going to make sure that San Antonio doesn't get to export any of the meat. Now the reason for that is we actually want to attrition this meat factory here, because sometimes we want to buy it on the cheap, and if we can buy it on the cheap we can put 2 factories in here. So later on this is often quite useful for making planks and furniture. We can just pull the wood from there all the way down to here. Okay, so I've got a little bit of money left. I'm just trying to work out what the best thing to do with this is. So we got 100,000. I think what I'll do... Oh, did I put a train on that? No, I didn't. Okay. Let's just double check. Yeah. Okay, it's on there now. Just going to pop one of those on there. And Houston to Austin, I'll pop one of those on there. Okay, so that's all our money spent. All that's left for me to do now is to unpause this video and get going. But we will do that in the next part. Bye for now. Hope you enjoyed the video today. Remember to comment, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.